The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast, coming at you live from California, where 3 out of 4 of us are. Do I hear
someone's in an airplane?
An airplane mode?
That's probably outside my window. I'm in Studio City, 20 minutes from Burbank Airport, 40 minutes from LAX, where they're striking today.
Okay. Wait,
And
they're
I could
striking at
close the
LAX?
Yeah, workers in LA are striking today. This is the new theme.
All workers?
LA workers are striking, and I believe it's...
Wait, all workers in LA?
I can read it to you, but I do not know for sure. I think
Brian,
LA...
you work
workers.
for the United States Postal Service.
Yes.
He's wearing a shirt.
So
I can tell you this definitively.
Brian's wearing a shirt that
the,
says United States Postal Service, for those of you not watching on YouTube, which is most of you.
Definitively, the United States Postal Service will be delivering the mail today. You will get your packages, your birth control, your everything you need.
You're
good.
It's just
I don't know.
city workers.
I know that the union of flight attendants did strike with the writers and actors this week, but they weren't not working. But yeah, the LA city workers
what does
staged
that
one
mean,
day
then?
strike, impacting services. Thousands of city workers in Los Angeles are taking part in a one-day strike to bring attention to what they describe as unfair labor practices and the city's failure to bargain in good faith. So that means that let's see, who is it that's going traffic services such as parking enforcement. That means you can park wherever the fuck you want today and you will not get a ticket.
Whoa.
Public swimming pools closed. There will be no trash pickup. It's just going to be delayed one day. If
As
you
I'm
call
looking outside
311,
Yeah.
311, they're not going to pick up.
Oh, what a change.
Police, fire, paramedics, they're not affected by
I
the
don't know what
strike.
it's like to call 311, but I'm guessing when I called 911 in my own city of St. Louis, it was a busy signal, which I haven't heard since
Oh my
1994.
God, are you serious?
A beep, dee, dee, dee. I'm
For
like, I literally
911?
haven't heard that since 1994 when I was calling Kirsten Florman and her dad was on the phone or something. Like, you don't hear busy signals anymore except on 911.
Oh my
And when
God.
we were in
Then
Detroit, you just can't get into 911
It rings
at all.
and rings and rings and rings.
Why were you
Yeah.
calling 911?
Well, in St. Louis, I accidentally called. I think I might have these backwards, but there was one time I called because of a traffic collision somewhere. I think that was in Detroit.
Yeah.
We witnessed a traffic incident where a car was just zooming down the highway at like 100 miles an hour, and then we heard a crash ahead of us. Right,
Oh,
Anya?
yeah.
Yeah,
Am I making
I
that
think
up?
you were with Andrew, and you guys both tried to get through. And
That's
then
right. You were there.
You guys were writing roast jokes for Detroit, and she was like, "Oh, one of the statistics is that it's the hardest city to get connected
The
with
longest wait
911."
time. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I
yeah.
experienced it. And then the other time I accidentally, on your phone when you like press a certain button, it'll like start calling the emergency. When you press 911 and then send,
But
accidentally.
no, when you hit the button a few too many times,
You hold
like
the, yeah,
SOS.
and a thing so I accidentally did that, and it was and I was just like, oh my God, I'm calling 911, and then it started being busy signal, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then
Sometimes when you're on your phone and like it like texts your ex-girlfriend like a bunch of times at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? Why did it do
No,
all
I
this?
accidentally FaceTimed someone the other day,
Oh,
and
God.
it was humiliating because it was someone whose number was being given to me from another person. So I it just started FaceTime videoing them from my car, humiliating. I was hoping they didn't have my number saved. I don't think they did. They were probably just like, that's a weird number coming. So, but man, if it was someone that I had known it was me, what do you do? I mean, you just text and go, sorry, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm going to actually say that whenever I get a FaceTime from someone, I think 90% of the time it is a mistake, and it should be, because that is a aggressive move. And I'm not the first to say this. This is like very memeable. Everyone knows FaceTiming is weird.
Yeah.
And it's not right. And you need to warn the person.
Mhm.
And
It's a hostile act.
Yeah.
I
Do
feel
you have
there's
anyone
two
in your life who
people-
does it?
There's two groups of people in your life that can FaceTime at will without incident. And that is your significant other, if they want, or a family member. Like my brother FaceTimes me over calling me all the time because he wants to show me my niece
kids.
Isla like playing in like, and you gotta film them, and you know. So other than that, though, it's pretty crazy. Sometimes I do get a stray FaceTime from a friend or something.
Yeah, because they're having a bipolar episode. It's like when I get a friend who, my friends who do FaceTime me, they struggle with bipolar disorder. And I'm not judging people that have that. Obviously, I struggle with mental illness, but it's a clear-cut sign something's going on. If you
Well, that's
are
how they
random,
diagnose it, I think.
there's other things too. My friend always said that people she worked in a mental hospital and was often working with like actually criminal. She was a pathologist for like criminals. This isn't Taylor, but it's another friend of mine. But she said that people with bipolar love unicorns.
What?
It's a common thing. It's not like if you love unicorns, you have bipolar, but like people with bipolar really just gravitate towards that creature and become like kind of obsessed with it. So my niece Poppy, she's 4, but I'm just kidding.
So many
I told that
kids.
to my sister. She was like, wait, Poppy? I'm like, no, she's a child that likes a pretty thing. That's different than an adult being like, I like unicorns, which again, no judgment. Like I love birds. I love, and I am probably, there's been times where I've thought I've had bipolar, but I don't think I do because it requires mania, which I don't really have.
Right.
I have the other one, but I don't have the like, sometimes I get like amped up, but it's because like I have too much caffeine or I'm on some kind of drug or something. But I don't have that upswing, but I have the down one.
Yeah.
I'm in
I
really
wonder what
into
it is about unicorns that makes people bipolar. Do they think they are a unicorn?
I think I think it's probably that. I think something about unicorns resonates with them. I'm different. Unicorns are special, but they are mystical. I don't know. There's not many of them. They don't really exist, much like the thoughts in my head don't exist. I don't know.
I have a friend who's a psychologist, and she told me that sociopaths love Paw Patrol.
Is this real?
No, I'm just going along
I was
with
like,
your...
oh my God. Well, no.
I have a real statistic though.
Okay, what?
But it's
Those
not.
fucking Paw Patrol people. No, go ahead.
not-
Sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised. People are into like My Little Pony adult men.
Well, those are the
That's
bronies.
true.
Yeah, but that's
Oh.
got to be
World.
a disorder of
That's
some
the whole
sort.
world.
Okay.
Anya,
I'm
you
in
have a
love
real
with a guy
fact?
who's a brony. No, this person
Anya
is
has a
not
real
a
fact.
clinical psychologist, but they do work with children, and they say that trans children really love mermaids because it's like half and half, like half
that makes sense.
human girl and half fish, or like their genitals they don't exist.
They
So
don't
a lot
matter.
of people that are
Yeah, their genitals are like an afterthought.
Oh, right.
No, mermaids'
Right,
genitals don't matter. Or like
Yeah,
it's
I
not
thought-
like it doesn't define who they are. Their hair does. Their pretty hair and their seashell boobs.
yeah.
Yeah, man, you got to have big boobs if you're a mermaid.
But if you're a
don't know.
merman, you don't.
I still felt like Little Mermaid, I felt very that definitely affected my body issues as a child. Like Disney definitely the waist on Disney. We talk about Barbie. I'm sorry, I wasn't comparing myself to Barbie. I don't like this whole narrative. I think I've already said it, but of the Barbie movie being successful because they've got it all wrong. People are like, Barbie's successful because girls loved playing with Barbie and they went to go see the movie to finish the story they told themselves as children. No, we didn't. We're not that basic and stupid. We're not like, I like Barbies and I want to be little again. It's because it's directed by Greta Gerwig, who is a phenomenal director. It's funny. It has Margot Robbie, who we like. It has Ryan Gosling, who we like. It's a huge, big budget movie that was marketed to us like nothing else in the history of marketing. Maybe that's why. It's not like we're all like these infantile little idiot girls that are like, but I liked Barbie when I was little. That's like what they're saying the movie is successful for. So now they're having like Polly Pocket movie and like G.I. Joe movie
God.
and He-Man movie. And it's like, they got it wrong if they think that we're going to see this because we played with these things as kids. Am I wrong about this? Like, did you go see
No, you're
Barbie
right.
because you like Barbies?
These execs are stupid. They're so
They're so
stupid. They're
dumb.
wrong on almost
I don't know if
every
they
decision
probably
they make
know.
is wrong.
But I think like the press is like glomming onto this idea that girls love Barbie and that's why they went to see it. It's like, no, because we have good taste in comedy and we're eager for a female comedy because you haven't given us one since Bridesmaids.
Yeah, I mean,
you gave
Greta
us one
Gerwig.
and you let us like that one and be like, it's actually good. Girls finally like something that's good. Here's another thing. Oh my God. And now we have Taylor Swift that you're all acknowledging is actually good.
was like
girls actually were onto this one. Okay.
It was the first. It was the first like women forward comedy that wasn't just a remake of a man forward comedy from the last 30 years.
Oh yeah,
And
like
also-
Ghostbusters and then
Yeah, like all that
What's
shit.
the other one they
Greta
did?
Gerwig and Margot Robbie as a team together is
Robbie.
like, why would you not go see that?
he can't say Robbie. He's been saying
Margot Robbie, mozzarella.
Oh, he said yesterday. He
Mario,
said, wait, say PENEE pasta.
penny pasta.
Penny pasta, everyone. He
Penny
said penny
pocket.
pasta yesterday.
I'm
And
from
then,
Long Island, and I
Cheap
don't.
pasta.
There's some words that you just don't leave you.
I don't blame you for ordering my coffee the other day and you asked for stevia. I was like, okay, I'll correct him on that one. He'll never do it again.
My
But,
dad says vegan. I'm about to see my parents
oh, my
hear
dad
that
said
word
that too.
30
I think
times.
I think that was in the 70s.
Oh, really?
Vegan.
Vegan. My dad says it too, and I broke him of it finally. But he also says, you know, when my parents take an edible, they do say, "Did you get off on that?" A lot.
That is
my dad
so
goes, "Julie, did you
disgusting.
get off on that yet? We got off so much the other night. We were watching this Beatles documentary. We both got off on these. I was just like, oh, it's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Well, Vegan is actually a one of the brightest stars in the night sky. It's Vega, and the Vegan star system is a thing. So when you say vegan, it also means that, which is also the site of an evil race
Wow,
of aliens.
you almost got as annoying as a vegan just now. But last night I got there was a moment with my friends that we were like, I forget what were we talking about? We were talking about a ladybug or something, and they were saying, we were talking about your possum story, Brian. We were like filling our friends in about the possum incident where Brian had witnessed that a possum got trapped by his neighbor in an animal trap. So the possum would stop eating his crops or whatever. And then the possum was just left there to fucking die. And Brian called the, animal control, which they wouldn't pick up the phone today if they called because LA City is on strike. And these girls were like, that is so cruel. And I'm like, yeah, you just left it there to suffer. And they're like, people who do that to animals are just, it's seriously sociopathic. And I go, do you guys eat animals? And they were like, Nikki. And I go, I'm just wondering, because their animals being treated like that all the time because you eat them. And I just started laughing. I was like, I got it and I got it and I changed it on you. Because they were like, anyone who supports that is sociopathic. And I was like, really? Because I think you do. But I was just joking. Like they were like, oh, Nikki. And I was like, I'm just kidding. I have to slide in a little burst of hypocrisy when I can. Let me get it in. I'm not like over the top all the time.
You have to get off somehow.
I gotta get off.
We got off last
Wait,
night.
speaking of the Barbie movie, Anya, you did see it, and I'm just like, I've been dying to talk to anyone about the Barbie movie. I know it is like weeks and weeks past, but I guess actually now we can maybe talk about it with a little more freedom because people maybe have seen it more. But just in case, we're going to talk about the Barbie movie, and I don't think we're going to spoil it at all. But I want to just hear if we do a spoiler, we'll give you a
Yeah.
yeah that.
I might
always
do a
sound like
spoiler.
Wow.
joking. Okay, well, do it before you do the spoiler. And people can do like 10 seconds ahead or something.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what
I'm
I
going
mean?
to take my headphones down. I haven't seen it.
You want to know what I thought of Barbie?
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
I liked it.
If you don't want to hear this, if you don't want to be spoiled what Anya thinks about it.
I'm not like, I don't have an amazing take or anything. I just it was so overhyped. And I'm a huge Greta Gerwig fan, I think. I haven't, I've seen almost all her films and I love her and I want to support her and I think it's great. But it's also like, I'm not, me, I'm not like a huge fan of blockbuster things in general or like super popular things.
But that sounds crazy to say that. I
Yeah,
don't like
we've
things
covered
because they're
this before.
popular.
No, I'm not. I just happen to not be a fan of like big blockbuster. I'm not like, what did we talk about before? Some film that I was like, I don't love Titanic. And you were like, how can you not love Titanic? I just don't love
But
a
you just
huge
don't like it
movie.
because it's huge? That doesn't
I'm
make
not-
sense.
Yeah.
It's
It does
overly
make sense.
produced.
Like these things have to be exactly. It's the same as like a lot of the music. I don't.
Wait, you didn't love Ant-Man Quantumania?
I understand not liking a movie because you don't like the movie, but I just was wondering, you can't just not like something because it's huge. There has
I'm
to be
not
some
saying
aspects
that.
about, but you did say that, so that's why I questioned, but now
No,
you're
I'm not saying
elaborating.
Yes, I'm saying I tend to not love things that are huge. Here's why: they have to tick a lot of boxes to be popular. Like you have to have huge music. Like I didn't love all the music, it's like but they were great songs, I guess. But what was it? Like Cardi B at the end.
You grimaced when you
Dua
said that.
Lipa.
She literally was like, and there were some great songs. It looked like your back hurt when you said it. Like you were picking up a heavy
they
box.
They have to pick all the top 5 or top 10 artists to do these songs that are
Dua
like written for
Lipa.
Barbie.
It was like, this is Dua Lipa and I'm singing a song about Barbie as you're trying to listen to dialogue. And actually some of this is funny what I'm saying. So you got to listen to this and you got to listen to her and you got to listen to me. And now here's Lizzo. She's coming on in. Here's Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Let's get in all 3. It was like a lot. When there's too many jokes in the songs, I'm just like, and then putting Dua Lipa into the movie felt forced. I know they shot her on a soundstage in the UK and it didn't fit anything, but I love when singers can't act. It really brings me a lot of joy. When you go, there's a big difference between what's going on here and what's going on over there. And she shouldn't be able to act. She is amazing at singing. I love when someone's super talented, a singer-songwriter who is like, such a good dancer. Like and people who know are gonna go, Dua Lipa's a good dancer. Yes, she fucking worked it, and now she's a really good dancer because she did an embarrassing dance when she first went on tour, and everyone made fun of her for it, and now she's fucking dominates the stage. But when she's not the best actress, and as someone who is good at one thing and bad at many other things, I like to see it in my fellow performers. Because didn't you think there was a like screeching halt when she was like almost the projector broke and someone put in a self-tape in her scenes?
Dua Lipa.
When she was the mermaid, when she was the genderless mermaid.
She was? I forgot. I was just like, is that Dua Lipa? So I guess there was a screech in my mind of like, is that who I think it is?
Yeah.
There were a lot of those
nice,
actors where
cameos.
you're like, wait, that's a big actor in a tiny role. Here's what I loved about the film. Margot Robbie is incredible. She was so good. So aside from being like shockingly gorgeous, she's just like, she's so great. She's subtle. She doesn't overdo anything. I thought the script was pretty great. Here's what I wish there would have been more. Oh, I loved how you're just thinking the whole time, like Mattel signed off on this. They're getting roasted in this film, which I love. But of course they know they're going to sell a shit ton of Barbies after this, but still they get pretty skewered. So belated spoiler. But here's what I didn't love. Will Ferrell is so funny. I thought he was underused. I just kept wishing like, do a couple more punch-ups.
Yes.
Really?
No,
What was laugh out loud funny of him?
Will Ferrell, him just dealing with those guys on the rollerblades was hilarious. Every scene where he would just touch someone. He's just such a subtle comedic actor. I just thought he added so much to it, but I couldn't agree more that let's just do one more pass on the script and punch things up. But from what I can tell from all the stuff they talked about is that they had to fight so hard to get the stuff through that they did. And from my experience in these kinds of situations, that was like the most they were willing to budge on super weird, funny stuff. Did you also love that line where they cut in and said Margot Robbie's not the best person to do the scene?
Yes, when they're talking about how Barbie finally becomes sort of human and ugly, and then Helen Mirren's overdub voice is like, all right, we admit that Margot Robbie isn't the best person for this character. That was great.
It was
and
so
America
good.
Ferrera's speech was great. I love all the... You didn't like it?
Well, it's been talked about a lot. That was overhyped to me because we got to it and I thought this is going to be a speech that makes me just go, whoa. But sometimes when people complain too much about what it's like to be a woman, I just kind of, I am a feminist. I complain about being a woman all the time. It's like the crux of who I am. But it just becomes like, I almost stopped listening by the end of it. And it's like, it's all about like, if you're fat, they don't like you. If you're too skinny, they don't like you. You can't be too mean, but you have to be nice enough to this. You got to do this. And it's like, okay, yeah.
You're like, Taylor Swift covered this on The Man a few years ago.
I'm not kidding you. Like, it's all been said before. It didn't seem like that groundbreaking to me. And everyone, I think that speech, if I had not heard about like, oh my God, this speech that she gives, wait till you hear it. I think I would have been like, that was cool. But I was like, yes, this moment that's going to make me feel a lot of things. I just didn't, it didn't resonate with me, but and I also hate to be like, it sucks being men too, but it kind of does. And like, I don't know. I'm over this thing of like making men feel bad, every man feel bad about the way it is to be a woman. I think I used to be on that train of like, you guys need to know how much it sucks and you have it so good. But it's like, I'm starting to see that like men have it kind of shitty too. And they also, and not that it's like we should just forgive everything and like never talk about our struggles. I'm not saying that. But I did think Barbie handled the struggle of men well too.
Life sucks for everybody. It's just there's different degrees of suck.
True.
I mean, I guess it's like if you have some privilege or whatever, that's nice. But like everybody likes to, doesn't matter who you are, but everybody likes to pretend that their struggle and suffering is the worst one.
Yes.
And maybe
I'm
it
kind
is.
of over that.
Maybe it is, but like everyone's got their thing. Everyone's got their struggle. And there's no group of people, women, men, black, white, whatever, that is every single person is struggling more than every other person in the other group. It's just based on the individual. That's what Martin Luther King said.
And did he?
No, that was just me.
Okay. Paw Patrol. I feel like in closing this out, I just feel like
already I have so much more to say.
No, but it's just this segment. I just want to say that like, I know we're never supposed to be like, you know, when you didn't want to eat your food when as a kid, your mom would be like, there's starving kids in Africa, but there are. Can we all like, we stop using that argument anymore of like, but your struggle is your struggle. Like your hangnail, it sucks that your hangnail's infected. Like you're allowed to feel bad even though there's starving kids in Africa because that's you. Like you don't know their struggle and this is yours and it's enough. It's like, no, it's not. There are starving kids in Africa. Be fucking grateful that, you know, I'm doing a bit right now about how hard it is for me to drink water. And like, I'm always like, God, I need to drink more water. And it's like I read about a village where these girls have to walk 7 miles to go get water every day for their village, right? And this is like right now happening in South America somewhere. I didn't even like pay attention enough to know the exact place. And on the way, they get raped a couple times. Not at once, like a couple times there are gangs of men waiting to rape them. So there's this whole foundation to buy bicycles for these women so that they can go faster to get the water.
God.
And I'm like, oh God, all they have is Dasani. And then I have to put in these little like packets to make it like, you know, a fruity flavor so that I can drink more of it and it's easy. And they have to like put in packets so it kills like a bacteria that will give them giardia and like give them diarrhea until they die. And like, I'm like, oh, what's that packet? And they're like, oh, this tastes like shit. And it's just to kill off the fucking worms inside. And I'm like, oh, is it like mango flavored? Like, it's just, you have to check yourself. I'm sorry, not every struggle deserves like everyone's sympathy all the time. You do have to compare yourself to others. And I think that actually is the worst thing to do, actually, because you're not supposed to compare yourself. I don't know what to do. Okay, we'll figure it out when we get back. All right, we're back. Anya, you had so much to say. You said you have so much more to say.
I was halfway kidding.
Okay,
I was halfway
but do you have
kidding. I'm
anything
ready
else to say?
Part of me is just like, well, Matt also agreed with you that the speeches were a little too heavy-handed. He's like, I would have liked it more if it wasn't so like, and here's the moral of the story. I would have liked Barbie to spend more time in the real world. I thought that was really interesting. And all of a sudden they like go back to Barbie land. I was like, already? And I wish Ryan Gosling wouldn't have done such a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the camera. Like, I like how Margot Robbie stays in character as Barbie the whole time, whereas I feel like Ken has this moment a lot with the camera where he's like, I'm Ryan Gosling and I'm playing Ken, and this is ridiculous.
I disagree with that, but I do understand that he had more opportunities to kind of be ridiculous, where it broke his character, because we saw his internal struggle of being like, okay, Barbie, yeah, thanks. And then he'd be like, oh, worried. There was more he wasn't just, Barbie was just true to herself the whole time. She didn't have a lot of internal moments of like, well, I guess she did when she's like, I'm thinking about death. It was just, and I liked when they went back to Barbie Land because that's where everything was fucking crazy. And the real world was like, not really how people act. Although my friend Adam Ray is in he's one of the cops when they get arrested. And he said they shot like it was like a 7-minute long scene. Like it was such a long scene at the cop station that whittled down to like a little bit. So I'm sure they shot a ton more. Did someone actually told me that the best marketing of the whole movie, it was a social media guy that I know that it runs a big social media company that does social media for networks and companies. And he said the best thing they did was when Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie were paparazzi'd filming that scene rollerblading in Venice. And those shots came everywhere. And they're in those, neon yellow or green, depending on how your eyes see things, rollerblades, outfits. She's in that thong. And those pictures, because I remember when those pictures came out and everyone was like, what the fuck is this? It's such a good idea. Call the paparazzi. That's how you get things going. So there was
a staged paparazzi moment. Like they didn't.
I don't know if it was staged, but if it was brilliant. But it just ended up being like such a good moment for them. And that's why celebrities call paparazzi. I mean, it's my friend Esther, who I went to Taylor Swift with this weekend. She does these really cool things on Instagram where she has someone just take pictures from her across the street with a camera. And it looks like paparazzi. She's obviously doing it. She's not saying like this is paparazzi, but it's like they're just done in that style. And it looks so much cooler than like posing in like a ring light. It's so much better. And oh my God, I saw the most depressing thing today. There are AI models that take 2 seconds to make that have millions of followers. Maybe not millions, but thousands and thousands. Probably going to be millions because they had one had 100,000 likes underneath her video or picture. So that's like probably 1 million followers. I didn't see it. And they are generating so much money. These models that are all in bikinis that are like, buy me a coffee. And men are like, I hope you enjoy your coffee, and leaving comments and like drooling over these AI models that are just
they're not
generating
real?
So much. It's real. It's happening.
Where does the money go? To Elon?
To someone who's making the models.
There's a couple of pretty famous ones that have like tens of millions of followers.
But
and it's
do people know? Some people know those are AI. These are new ones that they don't know are AI.
They don't even know?
No.
What
if
is
you go to
life?
Justine Bateman's Instagram if you want to see it. That's where I saw this because she's obsessed with AI and how it's taking over the movie industry and TV. And she posted this today.
Bateman.
Yeah, it's
there's definitely also like AI porn. Like there's AI porn stars now that you can follow, and then they'll be.
Will someone make a deep fake of me in a gangbang for myself,
please? Oh, I have
not to put out, but I was like, maybe I don't need to do this ever in my life. If I
maybe
get to, please don't do that because I really don't want to see that. I was kidding when I said that. I will not watch it. I won't watch anything that might have me in it. What?
Why wouldn't it satisfy your need to do it? Like it might.
Because I actually don't like watching myself. It's not like I want to do a gangbang so I can tape it and watch it back with my family and be like, remember that? Like I want to, when I'm masturbate, when I'm gooning out, it's because I'm imagining it's happening. I'm not like imagining me watching it,
Wait, so what's the point of doing it in real life? You have this real desire to do it in real life.
Right. Well, what's the point of doing it in real life?
Yeah. Like what are you going to get out of that? Because it's the experience
I want to have.
But then you'll remember it. And think back on it, right? Isn't that? Well,
I don't want to do it in real life because it's a huge risk of being recognized, and also it's like scary because it's strange dicks that I don't know. It can't really happen. It's like a thing that I know.
But let's say you're in a parallel universe where you're safe and it happens and it's completely safe. And
yes, it's AI. It's like robots.
Yeah. Let's say you did do it. What? Okay. Isn't the point of it? What is the point of you doing it?
It's the same point where people go vacationing. I go, what's the point? You're just going to go there to the Chichen Itza and then you leave. And like, it's just the memory of it. I don't understand why people do that, but they do it.
The memory of it. So you want to have
it's not the memory. It's the experience I wouldn't think back on it that much. I think it would haunt me, actually. I would be like filled with shame. I would want to dump it from my memory immediately, like I do going to see museums. I would just I did it.
So you just want the one-time experience of it.
Maybe I would get addicted to it or something and be like, oh, this is great. I want to do it again. But it'd be like going to Six Flags or something. Why do people do that? For the thrill of the moment.
I would think an AI deep fake or whatever of you getting a gangbang.
I wouldn't like it because they wouldn't use the right picture of me. It would be they would take a picture to generate. They always do this whenever anyone does deep fakes of me, which is very generous and so sweet when they do it. But it's always a picture I really hate of myself. So I have to watch this like version of myself from 2014 where I kind of looked.
You didn't
gay.
like your eyebrows.
I
or
just looked
something
like
that day?
a lesbian who has given up on looking feminine, which is not what is fine for some people, and I'm attracted to that, and I think it's super hot on others. It didn't suit me, and I was just trying. I don't know what I was trying. I was just trying to be like an anti woman on TV, and didn't wear a lot of makeup, and it just I don't like those pictures. So they always use that, and I'm like, I can't watch this stuff.
Maybe there is a deep fake of you already. Have you ever searched?
There are.
There's deep fakes of me. My friend
Brian
Brian Monarch
Monarch
makes.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, but no, I mean
like
a porno deep fake. Is that what you're saying?
There probably will be eventually after people hear this episode. I think I
no,
probably
well, they're hard to
sent
make,
out.
I think.
Oh, really?
Let's see.
No, please,
Yes.
Brian, do not look that up. Do not look that up, Brian. I don't want you seeing that. That's real.
What?
No.
Oh.
It's
And I
not
will
real,
say
Nikki.
that I have better boobs than any person that you could put me on. And so I don't want you doing that because I'll just be like, her body isn't, and you don't have access to what my boobs look like really naked because there's no evidence of that out there. So you couldn't make a deep fake of my tits and I wouldn't enjoy it.
I did not look at the video, but in 5 seconds of searching, I have found 2 deep fakes of you getting banged.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it's out there. If you want to go watch that, enjoy it, but it is not me.
Do you
That's
want
not
to
what
hear
my
the
body looks
titles?
like.
Do you want to hear
Yes,
the
I
titles?
do. Definitely
Okay.
do.
One of them is pretty standard. Nikki Glaser doggy style.
Okay.
So the doggy
I don't even
style.
like it that way. They didn't even get it right. Brings me no pleasure.
The second one is, this one's pretty good.
Mhm.
Nikki Glaser, the anal slut 2.0.
Okay, that they nailed it for me there. Someone's been
wonder what
watching my
1.0
specials.
was.
What does
Yeah,
the 2.0 stand for?
I don't know. Maybe
Don't you dare click and find out.
I am not
I'm
going
guessing
to.
the 2 is a number 2. That
Okay,
might be
and that, you know what? And this
that's
is also
make it a cameo.
this is good news for you. This video, the anal
Pulls a
slut
Dua Lipa.
2.0, was
Mhm.
made 2 years ago. That means you were worthy of an anal slut video 2 years ago, even.
I felt worthy of it for about 5 years now. So this tracks. They were a little late. Yeah, I think I've been open about being into anal sex for about 2 years. Maybe no. My first thing I said about it, I think, was 2017. So it's been a long time coming. Thank you
It's
to
also
whoever made those.
7 minutes long.
And can we see views before? Please don't click on it. But can you see how many
Oh.
views?
I just X'd out of it, but
Oh, okay, good. Don't go
I
back.
can find it again. Okay,
Don't go
no.
back. Well,
I'm
it's
not
gonna
gonna
have.
go back.
Okay, good.
7 minutes. What's the warm up? You're answering the door for the pizza guy.
Well, 7 minutes is typically the amount of time I like a video that's about. Sometimes when I'm searching on porn videos, I do 10 minutes plus because I want. Usually, if one video is hitting the right spots for me in terms of like, oh, I like what they're doing to her there. There's going to be another part of it that I like it too. The dynamic, but the men are talkative. You guys know I've been very adamant about miking the men. We need to hear the men say things and respond. I don't need to hear them groan, but I want them to say things. I hate when they're quiet. I don't really need to hear the woman say anything. I kind of don't want her to talk at all. That's why I've definitely looked up bell gagged because I'm just like, stop this fake whining. I don't like it. And so, yeah.
I have the views. I have the views if you want.
Okay.
So Nikki Glaser doggy style, not so great. Well, it's good, but
good. No, this is good.
13,309 views.
That's a lot of views for a video I didn't know existed, and I'm that is a perfect amount. It doesn't feel like 3. Like if it was like 210, I'd be like, this has been up for a while. But 13,000 is perfect. That's okay. And then
Nikki Glaser, the anal slut 2.0, clocking in at 39,734 views.
Okay, that one's
so pretty
okay.
good.
I'm a little disappointed in how that one's doing. Also, Nikki Glaser anal slut 2.0. Someone leaked my special title too soon.
Also,
I guess I have to do 3.0 for
just
my
for
new
comparison's sake, Margot Robbie masturbates in stockings.
Really?
Margot Robbie
Yeah.
masturbates in stockings.
Into
90
Christmas stockings? Oh, no.
She is in front of a fireplace, but I don't think it's Christmas
okay.
themed.
Okay.
99,880. So you're only half
okay,
that.
you're doing well.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie Can we talk about these little like pockets underneath her eyes? Do you guys know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? She has quam eyes. And if you
Quam.
don't know what quam eyes are, it's when your eye has like a pocket underneath it that is almost matching the upper eyelid. And when they close together, they look like little quams. And I say quams because the first person in high school that had this with his eyes was our friend's boyfriend. And his last name had was started with a K and an R. But he also kind of talked like this. And so we called him Qua. And so let's say his last name was Kramer. We called him Quema because he talked like this. Because it's just his jaw was a little bit like tight. And so we called him Crispy Quema because, actually his last name has the word Chris in it. So I don't know why we called him Crispy, but we called him Crispy Quam Eyes. And because he had quams, but it was like, but she has quams too. She has, do you know what I'm talking about? Look at a picture of Margot Robbie. There is a distinct, what is that? Can I get that
Mike White has
inserted in my eye?
quams. No,
What?
you don't want a quam eye.
I
Crispy
do. I want that
quams?
little fold right there that makes you go, when you smile, like everyone likes you
You have
more.
it now.
No, yeah, but
It's
that's just like an
youth.
old skin. No, it's not youth. But she has that going. That is what makes her face so incredible. Is that little extra line underneath her eye? I think that's it.
My friend has it. She told me that French people value that, and they have all these rules for beauty, and one of them is having the crispy quam underneath. It's just a little pooch,
A little
right here.
pocket. Yes, yeah.
A pocket
little
of
pooch.
beauty right under your eye. Not
Yep.
a bag. It's
Not
just
a
a little
not a
poof.
bag. It's the same color as your eyes, like as your normal skin. Everything is one color.
It's in the
There's
same
no
spot as a bag, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have kind of crispy quam going on right now. You kind of have the Margot Robbie, Brian.
Me? Oh,
No,
fuck you,
Brian.
Oh.
Doesn't he
Yes.
have it?
Is
Yeah.
that
He
has
bags? That
Yes.
looks like,
No, it's not bags. You have it. It's good.
so
you
when I
have a
close
crispy
my
quam.
eyes, they look like a
Little
Like a
like it
fish?
looks under the sea. Like they're like la 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 la. They're the chorus in the background. The quams singing.
Oh, so I got clams. Okay.
Yeah, you got
Well,
quam eyes.
Crispy quams.
Yeah, I analyzed her beauty nonstop in that movie, just like staring at her face, marveling and being like, how does she do it? But it's and she's like a lovely person. Did you see that video of her like doing sign language? And you go, oh really? Did she do that?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Is
oh,
she kind?
She's so sweet.
And she knows all of her, she knows ASL or Australian Sign Language, whatever it is. It's just like I hate when perfect people just keep being perfect. That's why I loved when Dua Lipa like kind of gave a drab performance acting. And I was just like, yes, a flaw. It just makes me so happy.
But my friend Heather was like, give me a
yeah.
fucking break. Margot Robbie saying she speaks ASL is like me saying I speak French and then singing
She
Frere
didn't
Jacques.
say it.
'Cause
Other people said it. She didn't
She's
say
like,
it at all.
I
She was
speak
just
it.
like spelling. No,
She
she
goes,
was
no,
spelling.
I know it.
No, well, she did some stuff.
The
like
press
it's like
ran with it and said she
the
knows
press
ASL.
said she knows ASL, and your friend's
knows
like,
the
fuck
alphabet.
you. Yeah. Or what, you know.
That's still cool.
Yeah.
But that
she
is like-
tried.
I speak French. Frere Jacques. Frere Jacques.
Well, pretty people haven't really
Yes.
gotten the memo that they're ever bad at anything. And I'm guessing Margot Robbie doesn't get a lot of feedback that's like, you need to work on that. You know, like show us another draft. Like, I think that she actually seems like a very well-adjusted
Yeah.
person and kind person that doesn't seem obsessed with her looks like other people just seem to be, but I'm just guessing. So I do really like her. We were talking yesterday about who we would be friends with in Hollywood. Is there anyone that like you honestly, if I said you have to go to dinner with them tonight, you guys, and people always answer this question like, I would love to go to, and it's like,
Great
I
question.
feel burdened by the idea of going to dinner with a new person so much. It's one-on-one with you and this person, and you're going to be friends, and it's a date. I'm thinking most people would turn down most opportunities because it's so stressful. You think you want to be friends with people because of the acting roles they've played, but I don't think you would like most people or like how they present themselves on TV and stuff. Is there
Perhaps
anyone
you know that because you've now befriended many celebrities and have learned that they're just like regular
Well, that's
people.
what
But I
I'm
think
here
for
to
the
tell you.
average person, I think they would jump at the opportunity to have dinner with almost any
Yeah, like,
celebrity
are
that
we
they
allowed
like.
to punish them with our fandom, or do we have to like act like proper people?
I think if that's what you want to do, you have to act, you have to like try to get them to be friends with you. Like you have to honestly like be like, we're going to start a friendship and this is someone that I want to hang out with. I don't know that there's really, I think I'm really Drake, no new friends. I don't really want to be, maybe Jennifer Aniston, but even that seems to stress me out. If I got like a message from her being like, she wants to have coffee, I would kind of go, oh boy, like I'm going to have to be fake a little bit. I'm not going to be able to be totally myself.
What
and
if
I'm gonna get
she only goes to Coffee Beans and hates Starbucks?
I mean, I could get in with Coffee Bean. I can I can
What about
get a
Phil's?
good coffee anywhere. Phil's? I don't know what is that?
It's another coffee
Fucking
chain.
Phil's.
I
It
think
has
for
a Z
most
in it.
people, the idea of being
Oh, yeah. I
fake
don't
with
like
Jennifer Aniston is perfectly acceptable. It's better than being fake with like Sue, the girl you went to high school with. You know, like that's the option. I would choose Jennifer Aniston every time.
Yeah, I guess
I know.
But
I
how
would
many
be
people
friends.
don't like going to parties and stuff? You think you like going to parties and then you don't want to go. Like people always think they want to do things, but let's like really just think about it in your mind tonight, listener. You have to go to dinner with someone. You have to get dressed up and feel like, okay, I'm presenting myself in the right way. Like, don't people have social anxiety? Why, when the question of like, who would you have dinner with? The social anxiety flies out the window and everyone's like, Obama, Michelle, Beyonce. And you're like, wait, you couldn't go to dinner with my boss the other night. Like, all my girlfriend wants to go to dinner with Beyonce. Like, would you really, how would you handle yourself? Do you really feel like you could hold a good conversation with these people? Wouldn't you feel a little bit like a burden? Don't you feel like you might not really give a fuck about what they might have to say and how self-absorbed they probably are based on who they are?
They have to agree to this dinner too. So
That's true.
Well, it's
Who
the
would you
same
guys
thing.
pick?
It's the same thing with hall passes where it's like, yeah, I'd fuck Hugh Jackman or whatever.
right.
And then it's like, but then you have to like go to dinner with them before and then listen to their stories about how they caught a shark. And then you get to have sex with them. And then you got to sit in bed while they go like clean themselves in the bathroom. Like, are you willing to do all that?
I think people would actually to
Yeah,
have sex with
with Hugh
people.
Jackman?
That's different.
I'd do that.
People have said to me, you're my husband's hall pass when they like meet me at meet and greets, and I'm just like, I don't really know what to do with that. Like, I guess they're throwing it out there to be like, if you wanted, we think you're a slut. You talked about it a lot on stage. We heard that episode where you talked about gangbangs. But I'm never going to fuck a random person ever,
That
no matter who they
t-shirt
are.
sold out, and we should bring it back in a new font.
Oh, what is
'Cause
it?
Nikki
people
Glaser
love-
is my hall pass.
That was a great t-shirt.
Yeah.
We
I
gotta
only
do
liked
that.
when girls bought it though. When guys bought it, I was like, you don't get the joke. This is for people who are gay for me or girls who are being ironic.
Mm.
Like
No, I
I
think
would
it's
buy a
cool
Taylor
for
Swift as
both.
my hall pass shirt because I'm not gay except for her, really. And I was talking the other day, like Wayne Brady came out as pansexual, and I was like, okay, we got to Google that. Which one is that? I forget. I didn't even get that far because then I said, what is the sexual where you like men and Taylor Swift only? What's that? Because that's what I am. You'd only be
Swift
gay
sexual.
for one person.
Homosexual.
Wait, so who would you pick, Anya? Who would you go out to dinner with? And I think you are on board. You're on board with this. Like, there's most people.
Yeah.
You've met some famous people. It's not
So many.
all it's cracked up to be, and it kind of makes you nervous, and you're just not like, I don't know.
I always like end up at a dinner and someone famous is there and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I ended up at a dinner with John Mayer once and there were 4 of us at the dinner, including him. And I was like, this is the best kind of situation where I didn't have time to get nervous and I just didn't care at all. I found out like on the way there, I had 10 minutes maybe. And then he was lovely and easy and, but like a superstar. So the conversation is all about him and,
yeah, they're
it
used
was-
to talking about
you
themselves.
just give them
nonstop.
shit or you don't kiss their ass. You're just yourself. And then they kind of like that. But that was an interesting. I know I would be friends with Nicole Richie. Like if I was at a dinner with her, I know we'd get along. Justine Bateman, love, because I like these people and I feel like I kind of get them and I'm not that starstruck by them. But I'd probably be
So you
super
go in-
nervous with an Aniston.
You'd be friends with them because you're not impressed.
Yeah. I'd be excited to like go to dinner with someone like Esther though, because I've never met her and I know her through you, but that's not like a huge celebrity. But
Yeah,
that would be
she's
like,
my
oh, that would be
newest
fun.
friend that I'm willing to be like, okay, she's my newest like like eligible for best friend territory, where if someone, I think I could even say like she's one of my good friends and she would be okay with me saying that, where she's
You
like,
and Esther have good like girlfriend dates.
yeah, I took her to the iHeartRadio Awards. Like she's like, we went to another premiere together too. Yeah, we just do these little one-off dates and we have the best time. And there is that feeling though when you go out with a new friend where you're like kind of nervous and sometimes you're worried that the conversation isn't going to flow and you might run out of things to talk about, or you might offend. You're kind of like caretaking, like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Is that cool? Like you can't just talk to them like a normal friend. You're like, I'm going to go, like your voice gets kind of like high when you're like, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Do you want to go to the bathroom? Or like, I'm going to, like, you're constantly checking in on one another. It's a little awkward and it's not like that with her. And I'm just so grateful.
It's first date vibes, except without the opportunity to have sex with them at the end of it. I guess there is the opportunity, but generally you don't. But yeah, it's like first date vibes and it's like a little exciting. And it's like, oh my God, is this person going to be my friend? That's definitely there.
Do you get that with guy friends, like new guy friends?
I honestly, I'm going through the Rolodex of memories in my mind, and I cannot remember the last time I had a hang with a new guy friend.
Yeah.
I have lots of guy friends, and there's guys from work that I then hung out with outside of work. I guess that's the closest, but that was not even recent. So I don't know. I don't even know.
Avi, like recently, I mean, like I guess it was a couple of months ago, he went on like a man friend date and it was so cute. He was like kind of like toiling about like where they're going to go and where they're going to hang out. And then when he came back, he was like so giddy. They had like the most like, I don't know, off-centric conversation about like music tones that like help you spiritually and stuff. And then like the guy gave him all these like YouTube links, and then Avi like went to sleep listening to it, and then they like followed up next day. It was really cute.
God,
that is
men
really
need
cute.
More friends. That is
men
so
need
sweet.
so many more friends. It's so sweet. It's hard.
And he's someone he met at the gym. Just like they started conversation.
Cute. I wonder who made the first move.
It's so hard to get a date off the ground. Yeah. Like you text and cancel.
There was a guy, when I used to go to the gym, Gold's Gym, there was a guy who tried to get me on a man date, and it just never panned out. But this guy was super cool. He was jacked and he had tattoos all over his body. And when he first came to talk to me, I was like, what the fuck? Is this guy in a gang or something? Because he was tattooed everywhere. But he was like, yo, man, what's up? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking to me for? This scraggly Jew struggling on the chest press machine.
Yeah.
He was talking to me, and eventually he invited me. He invited me to like a canoe trip. And I was like, whoa, we're going to go from gym to canoe trip with, and he's like, yeah, just me and 4 other guys going on this canoe trip. And I was like, I think that's a little extreme. So then I said, I declined. And then after that point, I tried to avoid him because I'm like, I don't want to go on a canoe trip.
Yes, I'm like you. There's a certain guy like that. I feel like Chris Convey is one of those guys. They like big adventures. They like groups. They like doing fun, big things together. I'm not an adventure friend unless I know all the people in the group and I know all the parameters, like how many days, where are we going? And I like them all. But if I met someone new and they all of a sudden wanted to go on a canoe trip, I'd be like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Right. Like a one-on-one coffee hang.
But like, I'm an adventure friend. If Chris Convey wanted to go on a canoe trip, I would go on a canoe trip with him and whatever.
He's been waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean,
he wants to have you eat a strawberry in Japan.
His head just perked up and he turned his head to go somewhere. Brian Cranston wants to go somewhere with me. I'll go. Ecuador?
Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go on a canoe trip with the guy who I talked to a handful of times in the gym.
No, that's a crazy person that would jump to that so much.
Yeah.
But a couple years ago, I had someone who wanted to hang out with me, a girlfriend, and I didn't want to be friends with this person. What do you do when someone's coming on very strong and they want to be friends with you? Because when it's a guy, even if it's a guy that wants to be friends with you, you can say, I have a boyfriend. It's just, I don't really hang out with guys in a non-romantic way. You can have that excuse, even though I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And I think women should be able to have guy friends no matter what the relationship they're in. I could always use that excuse, obviously, to be like, my boyfriend's not really cool about it. I don't think it's appropriate. Or if it's a guy that wants to go on a date with you, hey, I'm in a relationship. Even if I'm not really seeing anyone right now. I'm not interested in dating. There's an excuse built in. But when someone just wants to be your friend, which is a thing you can have an infinite number of, what do? You just
do?
lie and say you are busy all the time.
Yes.
Here's what you do, Nikki. And Wayne Brady figured this out. You just say you're pansexual. And then you say, my boyfriend wouldn't be okay with this because I'm pansexual. I'm attracted to all genders.
That's really good.
There has been someone that I'm like wanted to be friends with me after I had been interested in them in a romantic way. And it didn't work out for us in that way, but they still wanted to be friends. And I said, I can't because I get a crush on you when we hang out and it's not fun for me to feel these feelings. And they are so mad at me. In fact, when I run into them, they turn the other way. They avoid me. It's the only person in my life that I have I would say beef with, where if I was on the same thing as them, I would be like, okay, I'm just not gonna, I'll get there a different time because I don't want to make this person uncomfortable because they hate me so much because I pulled away because we had a really good friendship, because I liked him. So I would listen to his stories and hear him talk and let him express himself. And he got a lot of feelings out with me. And then when I would go in for a romantic thing, which I thought we were building, and he definitely made it seem that way at times. I'm not crazy, even though he would claim to be like, what? We're just friends. I'm like, come on. I'm not stupid. I'm reading the signs. I'm Margot Robbie. I know the body language and the ASL. And he was like, no, I just want to be friends. And I'm like, well, then I can't just be friends with you because every time we end up hanging out, I get a crush and it's just not fun. And he was so offended. And so he's mad at me. But that's his boundary, Jonah Hill. He has a boundary. I have to respect it. It's fine. But what do you do with a girlfriend?
That guy annoys me, whoever this is, and I think I know who it is.
He annoys you. I know he does.
Getting angry is so lame. The reason he's angry is he subconsciously knows he's fucking with you. He has a crush on you too, and he wants to intrigue with you. And this whole cover of I just want to be friends. God, why can't you just be a purist and be my friend? Is bullshit. He's enjoying stringing you along and flirting with you. It's like he gets off on it.
And I'm not saying that if Chris heard this, I could see him getting upset and being like, oh, so there's some guy that you have to avoid because you're so in love with him, you're going to get sucked back into it. That is not the case with this guy any longer. When this happened, that was the case. I was single and I was like, this is distracting to me. And now that I have a boyfriend, I have no interest in hanging out with this guy who really wasn't giving me anything in the friendship department anyway. The only reason I was really connecting with him was because I thought it was going in a romantic direction. And I wasn't like, wow, this is someone I'd take in any capacity. I thought you were hot. That's why I was kind of putting up with the rest. And I think that's where he gets angry, is that he realizes without the physical part, I don't really have much interest in what you are giving. And that's, is that a Me Too thing of being like, I can't, unless you have sex with me, I don't really care for anything you have to say. And I'm not going to be really interested in pursuing this intellectually.
Well,
possibly,
if he had
but
a better
you know
personality, you would.
It's our turn.
No,
All right, we're gonna go to break and we'll come back after this. All right, we're back. Hey, I want to remind everyone that I am going to be on tour in the fall. I am taking a hiatus right now, and I am writing so much new material. I'm doing stand-up sets in LA every night while I'm living here for a couple months. And then in September 15th, I am back on tour, and it's the biggest show that I maybe have ever done on the road. It's at the Chicago Theater, September 15th. It is a huge show. That place is a huge venue. I really want to sell it out. So if you're in the Chicago area, I would love to see you at that show. We will be doing meet and greets. Anya will be there. It's going to be so much freaking fun. And then the next night we have Peoria, Illinois, if you're a little bit south of Chicago. We also have tons of dates, including New Jersey, Vegas. I'm there with David Spade again. Minnesota, Calgary, California, all over California, 4 dates in California, Milwaukee, Iowa, Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, I'm going back to my college town, Boston, Maryland, and it goes on and on. I'm not going to read them all, but there's a bunch more coming up, and I'm so excited to see besties at them and for you guys to see all my new material, which is on top of a ton of new material from the last time you saw me. So, and you could go to multiple shows and you're going to get different shows for each show. I would say that the overlap will probably be 70%. at the most, but I tend to do different material at every show. So I hope to see you there. It's so much fun. And yeah, I've been having a lot more fun with stand-up recently because I've been saturating myself in stand-up comedy, as Brian hears every day, because we hang out and I talk about we're analyzing stand-up comedy. And Brian is very analytical of stand-up comedy as well. I feel like you have listened to, like, I'm getting back into Louis C.K. and I'm obsessed. I'm back on board. Here's my take. Are you ready for my problematic take?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right.
Problematic take.
Can we get a horn?
Can we get the problematic take horn?
Wait, that's a spoiler horn.
That means
Oh,
they're
wait.
all the same. It's slightly different. That's a different Hertz. Avi could tell you about it if he went to dinner with his friend again. That had a slightly different Hertz level. Okay, so Louis C.K., I didn't listen to him for very long because I've talked about this before. I really liked him for his honesty. That was always my favorite part about his stand-up. And I felt like, wow, what he came out as having done is he's a liar. Like, there was like a really seediness underneath all of this that we didn't know about. And it was, and I didn't like his actions. I think that it was a little bit murky. I don't think that he's necessarily like the nicest person all the time to people from stories I've heard. But I'm sorry. Here comes
That's
the take.
the name of his special too. I'm sorry.
I know. Here comes the take. If you go back and listen to his albums, I've listened to every single album. I think there's been like 10 or so. It's all there. No one should be surprised of what came out. It's all there. You should actually be surprised if he hadn't done this. And I'm not saying what he did was okay. I'm not condoning. Condoning is saying it's okay, right? I'm not saying that the women weren't right to feel violated and they weren't right to, like, we should not shame them in any way, or I hope they have amazing careers and that coming out about it did not affect their careers. I think that's the saddest part about this, is that, like, that's what they're known for now, if you do know their names. And I hope you don't know their names so that they have a separate career. But just a separate identity away from this story. But if this guy did not jerk off in front of people based on if you listen to these albums, there's just no way this guy, first of all, let me just say some of the things that he reveals in these albums, because it might have been a while since you listened to him. One of his first experiences with bad words, an old man approached him and who knows how true the story is, but I'm sure there's some level of truth to it. An old man came up to him at a very young age when he's like in kindergarten and was like, "Hey, little boy, you want to hear all the dirty words?" And of course he's like, "Yeah, of course." And so the guy's like, "Pussy, ass, fuck, cunt, shit, fart." And he told him all, dick, whatever, cunt. And I think I said cunt twice, but probably. And he was like, okay. And then he learned them all. He was like, pussy, ass, fart, cunt, shit, ass. And he goes, okay. And then he goes to kindergarten. He goes up to his teacher, his kindergarten teacher, and he says all the words. He just goes up to her and says all the words right to her. And she starts crying. And he said it was one of the greatest moments of his life.
Oh, okay.
And so there we go.
There
okay?
he is.
That's in, I believe,
The
either I'm
Genesis.
sorry or the one after I'm sorry, and then right after that bit, he goes into, some people have weird sexual stuff, and then everyone starts laughing. He's like, what do you mean someone? He was like, you guys know mine. Everyone knows mine. Obama knows mine. He was like, he talks about it. But that is the genesis of it. A young age, he said something disgusting. He got pleasure from a woman being horrified, which leads him to be a comedian who says some of the most horrible things you could ever imagine and makes a career off of it. That's why we love him. He was the first person to ever say that his kids were assholes. He told a story about his wife giving him the saddest hand job in America, or, all of these things. And then there's another story where he showed his penis to a girl with Down syndrome when he was 10 years old. And I'm guessing that age is a little bit, I'm guessing that age is a little bit older than what he said for the joke. If I was a betting woman, I'm just saying. And so he said that. He also, the punchline to many of his jokes is jerking off onto the thing that he has just talked about.
Wow.
Almost in every album. There is, he
Or
also
getting
has,
jerked off onto. You can come on my back and pretend that I'm your father.
Yes.
I think what you're saying is, like, what Louis did is not acceptable, and that's bad.
Yes.
But
No,
you
of
can't
course
be
not.
surprised that the
Yeah.
guy who spent 20 years talking about how much of a piece of shit he is on stage is actually a piece of shit.
And that he's not just a sexual piece of shit, which he covers. He is a bad person in general. He tells us he's a bad person over and over.
Yeah.
He has bad thoughts. He hates people. He hates a little kid. He wishes this little kid has the worst. Like he talks about for like 7 minutes a 4-year-old that's in his daughter's class who he fucking hates, and he does like a fake name for the kid. But he has evil, dark, twisted thoughts. All I'm saying is that Nikki Glaser, you have no right to stand on this little. Stand on your hill and say, my soapbox and say, I don't like him anymore because he wasn't honest. He's telling you the whole time that's not a reason to not enjoy his comedy anymore. It's in line with who he was. And it's just funny to go back. I'm reading this Sinead O'Connor in her book right now. And she says in it that you can read this book about me and I'm going to tell you all these stories about songs. But if you want to know everything about me, it's all in the songs. There's nothing here that will be any more indicative of who I am than the songs. Everything you want to know about me, listen to the songs. It's in the songs. And then someone else said that recently too, of like, I think I was talking about Taylor Swift. And I'm like, I have this new stance with her where I don't want to know anything about her that she doesn't tell us. I'm tired of speculation. I don't want to even see paparazzi shots of her anymore unless she has like called them to take a picture. I don't want to know anything that she isn't giving us because we are so lucky as Swifties to be privileged to so much information via her lyrics. So much. She gives us she is telling us so many little Easter eggs. If you put the puzzles together, if you do the research with other fans, she is letting us know all these things. She does like us speculating about lyrics and figuring things out and putting puzzle pieces together. And that's the joy of being a Swiftie. It's not speculating about things that she hasn't given us. Let's respect her and be like very appreciative of all the stuff that she does give us, like diaries. She literally gives us like printouts of some of her diaries. So we don't need to dig any further, and I want to respect, going forward in my career as a Swiftie. I just want to have that boundary for myself where I'm like, okay, if Taylor didn't give it to me, I don't want it.
Because you didn't talk about Saturday night yet, did you?
Well, here's my take. Everyone goes, "How was Saturday night?" The same as the other 8. Exactly the same. And by that,
There's
I mean
like every celebrity there.
fucking incredible. I know. Yeah, was there? There's so many celebrities, but
How
I
was
didn't
Haim?
see any. Haim was amazing. They put on such a good show as an opening band, and so did Gayle. Gayle was so good. But Haim was fucking. They're just rock stars. There's no one cooler. I just looked over at Esther and I was like, can you imagine being this cool, like shredding on guitar with a fucking crop top on? And looking hot as fuck, but not sexy, but like also not too sexy, and they're just cool. It's just, they're the coolest girls ever. And to perform with your sisters and to have like these fucking amazing songs. It was just like, I think I envy their lives more than almost anyone. And to have Taylor Swift go like, these are my best friends. I was just like, oh my God. I want to be a Haim sister so bad. But yeah, let me just say, Taylor Swift shows, people keep going, what's your favorite one? The only difference between the shows is who I go with and where I'm seated. So that's the only time the show will be better than another show because she's so
secret songs.
fucking consistent. Yeah, the secret songs do make it better, but I would say the biggest factor is where I'm sitting. It is and who I'm with. I mean,
How was it
it's like
going with
watching a movie.
Esther? It looked like you guys had so much fun.
She's adorable. She dances so well. She's so cute. She was just really into my reactions. I don't know. She was just laughing at everything I said. Like at one point she was like, I put this on my Instagram story because she wrote it out, but she was like, so do you think you're going to go to another show of hers? And I was like, I don't know if I can make it Wednesday. Like this week is kind of, and she was like, not this week. Like, and I was like, no, then the answer is yes. She was like, that's so funny. You thought I meant this week. Of course you wouldn't. This is such a, like, it's an extreme hassle going down there, getting down there. It's like hours of your life.
SoFi's rough.
It's rough, man.
Yeah.
Have you been there for football games?
No.
What have you been
actually.
there for? Billy Joel? What did you go
I mean,
for?
I just heard that it's rough based on what everyone else is talking about. I'm going there this year, and everyone's like, it's a nightmare getting out of there. And I just know from other football games in the area before SoFi existed that just getting out is You have to leave in like the third quarter in order to get out.
Yeah, that's what I did for Taylor. We left after Anti-Hero, which I know people are going, Swifties are like, you left before. That means we missed Midnight Rain, Karma, Vigilante shit, and Mastermind. So we missed most of Midnight's. But I've seen all of those before. I've never seen Karma in full because I always leave before Karma. You gotta leave during Karma, you guys. If you go to a Taylor Swift concert, save yourselves hours in traffic. And by the way, you're stationary for 3.5 hours that night, just rocking back and forth. When you get to finally leave, Noah, you did this with me.
Yes. We
when you're leaving,
out.
it's fun to skip to the song. It's like fun to like move in a different way to the song, and you can't see her, but there's nothing she's doing that she hasn't done the whole show. You've seen her. You've been watching her for 3.5 hours. She's not gonna move in a way that's new. I understand people being completionists and like I got to see it to the end. You're not missing. I promise you, you're not missing it. I haven't seen. I watched Swift Talk or like Swift Reels that come up. No one's clipping the very end of the show. It's not the stand-up part of the show. I know Taylor would probably be disappointed to hear me say this, but you gotta leave after the first verse of Karma. See a little bit of it, and then you are gonna get such a. You're gonna not be in traffic for hours. And SoFi was terrible getting out of it. So we left very early, and we still struggled with a little bit of like.
It's
getting out
LA
traffic
already
and
on
finding
top
my
of
car.
LA. LA is
On
just
top of
terrible
LA.
traffic. No matter what's happening, LA's got terrible traffic. And then if you have like the most seminal concert experience of our generation occurring in downtown or in Inglewood or whatever it is, it's going to be a disaster. But I do think you should go to one more Taylor Swift concert at least, because you got to hit 10. I mean, if you're at 9, you've got to hit 10. You're never going to forgive yourself.
Final thought. There's no question I'm going to 10 shows. I think I'm going to use this opportunity in her international tour to give into what my boyfriend likes, which is traveling, and I don't like. But I think that this is I think it was either his idea or it had to be one of our ideas, but to now knock out both of the things we love together. And I'll go to Singapore, but now I'm going there to see Taylor Swift. It makes more sense.
Sure.
But I will say that the show can't change for me anymore. It's like I've been as close as I could possibly sit. I've been in the best seat in the whole house. I've seen it. I know it. I can't wait to see whatever they're filming, because they were filming in SoFi. I can't wait to see it that up close, where like the little rover camera is on stage with her as she's like doing My Tears Ricochet and walking down like in a procession, and then she falls to the ground and it's like right in front of her. I can't wait to get up in her face when she's doing that scene. But it's
let me ask you a question.
No shows are different except the secret songs. Yeah.
If let's say 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you were talking to somebody and you were like, I went to the Eras tour 10 times. And then they're like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I went 17 times. How would you feel?
Oh, good question.
I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it. Because I heard there's someone on a Taylor Swift message board that said, who's gone the most times of you guys that you guys have heard of, you asking other fans, and someone said there's a girl on TikTok who's been like to 38. So I'm not going to touch that girl, but I am going to. I think the more I go, the funnier it is. Like, I'm trying to hit the funniest number that makes people go, what the fuck? Like, I say on stage, like I'm talking about, not freezing my eggs and all the money you save. And I'm like, and that's why I've been to see Taylor Swift 8 times. And people laugh and I go, and that's not an exaggerated number. It's literally 8 times this year. And people kind of go, like, it's kind of shocking. And so it's fun. I'm in this really fun stage of telling people where they go, have you seen Taylor? I'll wear like a shirt and they're like, have you seen her yet? And I go 8 times. And they go, oh, and I go, this year. 9 times total. 1 time in 2013. And then 10 years later, 9 more times. So
in case you missed it, check out the New York Times article where Nikki Glaser is mentioned a number of times. And that was really great.
That was exciting.
Congrats.
Nikki Glaser is mentioned 8 times in that article.
I think
I was mentioned
right?
3. It was awesome. The guy, that was so random because he came up to us at the Kansas City show. I was there with Kirsten, my sister, and Kat, and I went to take a picture with a fan, and then this guy was just holding his card and was like, I'm just interviewing fans. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm Nikki Glaser, I'm a comedian. He was like, oh, I know you. And I was like, and then we talked later on the phone here, weeks later, and he followed up on some stuff. And it was cool because that article interviewed Billy Joel, to talk about like another musician commenting on things. Herb Albert to comment on her breaking his record. He's a trumpet player, breaking his record. And then another, I think Shania Twain to comment on the touring and how she's another person that's touring. So, and then me as the representative of the fans. I was the only one that was like a fan that was quoted to represent the experience. So
That's
that was so
way cooler.
cool.
Yeah.
And I think they would have just used a normie, which kind of sucks for that normie that would have been picked. But it was fun. And it wasn't something that I was like, I got to get my publicist to get me in with the New York Times. I need to quote, it all happened from just happenstance. From me going to enough shows that I ran into a reporter and he happened to be sitting in our same row. I mean, it was really weird. It was not planned at all. But if I was an outsider looking in, I'd be like, oh, she called and like used some in to get in. And I did not. It was dumb luck.
Serendipity.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Billy Joel's my Taylor Swift. I'm glad he was in that article.
Yeah. He said
Are you
that
going
it's like
to his
Beatlemania.
final concert?
I went to see him last in November of last year, so at MSG. I'm a piano manity.
Do you leave?
My God.
Do you? That's so funny. Do you leave early?
No, we didn't leave early. Getting out of MSG is a breeze. I mean, you just have to deal with the
'cause you're just
train.
like,
It's just you walk out. That's why New York City is so amazing. It's like,
great.
yeah, you're at Madison Square Garden where there's tens of thousands of people all in the same spot. And then you walk out and it's like, yeah, this is the same amount of people that's always here. We're prepared for this. Whereas
That's
SoFi,
why I liked Minnesota with Noah, because we walked from our hotel. If you can walk to the venue, you can stay. We still left a little early because I just have that anxiety. But it was,
yeah, I don't want
that was the easiest leaving experience yet.
Yes. We didn't get like caught up in like mobs of people or anything. And we
No.
got to like see all the fun stuff that was happening outside. Do you remember when we were walking to the hotel and we saw her like car with like all the police cars around it?
Yeah, she had the police escort out.
Yes.
People
So we
are
got to
always
see
like, how
that.
does she get out? Because the traffic is insane by the time she's leaving the show. I would think helicopter most of the time, but we saw her police escort. Yeah, so I'll go again. And it's the same performance every time. It is perfection. She doesn't do one thing wrong. Sometimes her dress like will snag on something and you go, woo. But my favorite part now was that there's a moment that does differently now where it's like there's the song called The One and she's like, you made some woman on the internet and take her home. And that's like the album version. But in the in the stadium, she goes, you meet some woman on the internet and take her home. And everyone fucking starts screaming when she just changes it to take her home. And then Esther looked at me like, what happened? And I go, she changed a note. And she was like, what the fuck? Everyone lost their goddamn mind over it.
Esther
It's
pointed
so
out
funny.
how like like exactly where Taylor's going to be on the stage. It's the same thing that I was like so impressed with, that you like understand the choreography and how the show operates and the production. That's like really cool.
Yeah, it is funny to just, it's really fun to just look at Esther when a song ends and then just look over her exactly as the new song starts. I'm like, you are somebody that I don't know. And she's like, how did you know that was coming in at that exact moment? Or like those little moments. There was another one where, oh God, what was it?
I like that she's like, go ahead.
Oh yeah. No.
Or she's like, Nikki told me, don't even bother filming because I know all the angles and I'll get it all.
That's well, I gave my friends this thing of like, let your friends film because your friends are going to film no matter what. I'm telling you, take it in. Do not be stuck on your phone trying to get the perfect thing because you're missing so much. I can now miss stuff because I've been to enough. Let me just get the good stuff. And for the love of God, if you go to a Taylor Swift show, unless you're on the floor in the first like 9 rows, film the screens. There's someone that is capturing the perfect angle of her at all times on this gigantic, perfect HD screen. Film the screen. Don't film her. Your camera is shitty. It's not going to look as good. Trust the screens. You can just leave it static on the screens. You don't have to follow her. Film the screen and also change the aperture or like the lighting on your
There's
video.
a Louis C.K. joke about that where like at a baseball stadium when like someone hits a home run and then you see all the flashes of people's cameras. Like if
their flash is going to light up a
is
stadium.
going to light up Yankee Stadium.
Yes. Yes.
That's how dumb people
I
are.
loved that. You see so many people's flashes on. You're just like, oh God. But there was a moment when she did her secret songs on Saturday night, which are the 2 songs that she, is always going to be a random thing. And everyone's just waiting with bated breath. Like, what's it going to be? And I got it wrong when I was with Noah because I saw the capo and I go, it's going to be Cornelia Street because it was on the 4th fret. And I was like, And then the other night, she puts it on the 4th fret and I just turned to Esther. I go, Death by 1,000 Cuts. And then I go, saying goodbye. And she goes, saying goodbye. And I was like, I got it. I fucking nailed it. I was like, I am so excited. And then she also played You're on Your Own, Kid on piano, which was those are my 2 of my favorite songs ever. It was the best 2 secret songs yet. I'm so excited. I was so excited about it. It was a great moment. But my favorite part of the show is the illicit affairs interlude into My Tears Ricochet. That's always my favorite part of the show. And final answer on that. But yeah, I will say that also in LA, people don't dress up as much. There were people going buck wild, but a lot of people are just like, I just got these tickets from my friend at a radio station.
Yeah.
Like they're just like
Too
kind
many
of
people
business.
are connected.
Too many people are
It's the
connected
same
and
reason. It's the same
And
reason
dressing
so
up as-
many comedy audiences in LA suck. It's the same reason when you go to a comedy show in LA, it's not as good as Denver or Seattle or whatever. It's because
Yeah, they're
everyone here is
over it.
fucking connected and over it and not wanting to be
Yes.
there.
No one was wearing, like, there were people just dressed in like regular clothes. I will say Esther came in Adidas track pants and a black shirt and nothing pink, nothing bedazzled, nothing. Because she just
looked
didn't
so
get the memo.
cool.
She's the coolest person ever. She either didn't get the memo or didn't care. But she saw me in my sparkly dress. We like met up and she just was like, "Wait," she goes, Do you always do this? Do you always dress up like this?" And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like what you do. She was just like so weirded out. I was like, it's kind of like Halloween for me. I don't know. I really like it. She was like, okay.
Did you want to give her a
it.
heads up at all?
No, I thought she doesn't give a fuck. Esther's the coolest person ever. You got to follow
would she have had
Esther
fun?
Monster on Instagram. Yeah, but I don't think she
Getting
needs
dressed
to dress up. Like, I don't think she would have. She didn't care. She's just
Okay.
like, she's the coolest person I might know. No offense to everyone I know. It's just
Wait,
she
did you
doesn't
answer the question of which
seem-
celebrity you'd like to have dinner with?
I think it's none. Honestly,
You can't say
think
none.
No, Louis C.K. is actually my one right now.
We know how that's going to end.
No, we don't. I would said to Brian, I think I would want to I am very inspired by him and artistically. I know I'm going to get shit for this, but I shouldn't because you probably, person who's getting mad at me, listen to music from someone who's like beat a woman several times before. Like everything, everyone has done terrible things to. There's so many men who've made things, produced things, been a part of things that you enjoy that have done terrible things. So back off about my interest in studying his brain and wanting his help with my next special. I just want to I want to just talk to him. I'm just been studying. I've listened to 10 of his albums in the past 3 weeks. I'd be interested in sitting down with him and talking about stuff and asking about his process and possibly getting some help on my next special. So that's mine.
I mean,
Whoa.
he is probably the best stand-up comedian of the last 15 years. I mean, his stand-up is miles above other people who are even great at stand-up. It
Yes.
really is. That's
Agreed.
why when this all came out, it was like, God damn it. It's like when Michael Jackson, you can't listen to Michael Jackson anymore. It's like, God damn it. Because
But you can.
it was the best. It was the best. There's
know.
no one listening to a Louis C.K. hour special. No one does what he does to me when I'm listening to their stand-up special. Maybe
No.
Patrice O'Neill or something, but that's it.
Yes. But no one changes the way I think about the world. No one, I'm constantly flooded by things. Every day I am like, oh my God, that's that one thing that Louis said. And it makes me look at that differently. It makes me think of, it validates a lot of fears I have about motherhood. It also makes me feel a little bit sad about some of the things I feel about motherhood and missing out on that. It makes me feel appreciative to be a human being and to not complain about stuff as much. He's I think a modern day philosopher. And I think, and also,
Yes.
more honest than most people will ever get with the inner workings of their psyche. And I'm fucking into it and I want to be able to do that. But not everything he does, but I want to be able to do that. And I want to learn from that. So I guess that's who I would go to lunch with. And that's my problematic take. I said it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
One of my
Thanks.
favorite jokes of his is the thing about why do we count the years the way we do? And like we're just plodding on from the year 0, like Jesus, like everything is BC or AD. I loved that whole way that he lays that out. I'm like, oh my God, it makes you think, like, why the fuck do we count the years this way?
He's the only comedian that I frequently reference, not because of their jokes, but because of an idea that he had that makes me think of things differently.
Yeah.
And then I say this phrase maybe like once every 2 weeks. I go, especially when I'm in not polite company, I go, not to bring up Louis C.K., but Louis C.K. has a joke that says blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I say that like every 2 weeks.
Yes. I'm saying it now too. Now that I'm more like versed in what he says, I say it all the time. I think about him. I say it every time I travel and there's a delay. I think of Louis C.K. and how you get to fly through the air miraculously like a bird.
Yeah.
You get to go, I just think of, I always just go, you get to fly through the air miraculously like a bird. Don't complain about fucking anything that happens right now. You have no idea even you can't, I like that he has a bit about like, if there's a delay for 45 minutes, he's like, that's someone's story. People will stop doing the dishes to be like, you were delayed for 45 minutes. Like, that's a story. He was like, can you imagine the Wright brothers hearing about that now and being like, wait, they were delayed for 45. We shouldn't even bother. Let's not do this. This is ridiculous. Like, that idea is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it really changed the way I see the world. And yeah. But he did make a point that he says don't jerk off and don't ask people. He was like, don't jerk off in front of people. And even if you ask them and they say yes, don't do it. Do you remember when he said that, Brian?
To me personally, or on the special? I do remember that. I do remember that. He did address it. He did address that briefly, but not on I'm Sorry So Much, but on the next one. But I don't remember exactly.
That's what he said. He was like, don't jerk off in people. Even if you ask them, don't do it because they might be saying yes and they don't mean.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That kind of feels like just, that's the excuses.
An excuse?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say anything further on that. But I do. At what point do you not trust a yes? That's
Here's
a whole
how I
nother
relate
conversation.
to that. Here's how I relate to that, and I can't speak in specifics,
When you're in a position
but I
of
will
power.
say, well, I don't know if I'm in such a position of power, but I just got in trouble for doing something that someone asked me to help them downsize their home, and I did, and then I had just heard back that now I have a bad reputation for doing that. Like I coerced them into downsizing their home. And it just goes to show you no good deed goes unpunished, because I definitely did not coerce, but now I am known as the person that like talked someone into doing something they did not want to do.
But you asked them like, do you want some help with this thing? And they said yes. And now you have coerced them.
Yes.
So that's a similar.
Exactly the same as Louis C.K.
It's not. Well, it sounds like that person said yes, and this is what their argument is they said yes because they felt like if they said no, you would be mad at them, or like they would be disappointing
Maybe
you.
I had power that I didn't realize I had.
Yeah, but do everyone, and this brings into the Lizzo thing, like Lizzo with those dancers I don't think she's aware of her power.
That was literal employment too.
I
that
think
was
she's someone who doesn't even think of that way, which she should, and that's not to excuse her. Everyone should consider their privilege and their power when they do something. I have to do it often too because I employ friends, and sometimes I'll say something that I'm like, wait, you don't have to answer that because you might feel like I might fire you if you don't. Like, but if you can always say no. But do you have to remind people of that all the time? Or do you have to always just never ask those things? I don't know what the answer is. All I know is, do you guys want to watch me masturbate right now? Okay, I have to go. Thank you guys for listening to the show. We will be back tomorrow with more Nikki Glaser podcast. Come see me on tour, nikkiglaser.com for all the dates and tickets, and Dumpika. And just ignore like half of this podcast and if you're upset and promise, and I'm a good person, I promise, and maybe I'm problematic. Just DM me everything that you're upset with me about.